comms up. Get your comms up.
The Panther Comms Podcast with Timmy VO.
Well, Panther fans, now if you've been engaging in the Panther Comms podcast content, you'll know that I've always questioned why we had to bring in other quarterbacks after we had PJ here. Now you know why. Just saying. So, welcome to the Panther Comms podcast, Monday in the Box. This is the BUCS edition. I'm your host, Timmy VO. Thank you as always, and by all means, hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. Okay. So Monday in the Box, again, if you're not familiar, this is where I take the box score from the previous game, normally on Sundays. Of course, this is the Panthers versus the BUCS, and I break it down. So we'll talk about keys to the game, quote unquote, and other subtleties that have been building up throughout the season so far. If you go back to the very first box score from week 1 against the Browns, you'll see what I'm talking about. The progression is there. That is obvious. And for one to say it had nothing to do with Matt Rule leaving would be nearsighted, to say the least. So here we go. Good to see you folks. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. Let's dive into some things here. Okay. Let me pull this up real quick. Tepper giving my man the game ball. Why not? Giving Coach Wilkes the game ball. Why not? Why shouldn't we win games? Especially this defense. And Chen and JC didn't even suit up. Ioannidis didn't suit up. But I'll digress. Okay, so here we go, folks. Well, let's start up with the obviously I break down the quarters here. Our defense set the tone early. As Coach Wilkes mentioned, we set the tone at the line of scrimmage early, and it paid off. The BUCS didn't score a touchdown. We held Tom Brady without a touchdown. And granted, of course, folks are going to point to the fact that his O-line is this, that, and the third, but these are the same people. In a lot of instances where they say you need a franchise quarterback above an O-line, that'll never work. Case in point, Tom Brady might be up in age, but the man can deliver the ball still. I mean, he's not going to kill you, with a 60-yard bomb, but his accuracy and his attention to detail is phenomenal. And from what I saw yesterday, and I was on the road for the game yesterday, so I got a chance. Well, I always listen to the radio, but I got a chance to listen to Luke and Jake and our new announcer on the radio, and it seemed like the BUCS were really shooting themselves in the foot, and like there's a inner conflict going on with that team. But stepping between the lines, you got to play. And they ran up against a defense that came back off of an LA loss that they felt like they should have won, and we should have. I'm not quite sure why McAdoo didn't unleash an offense, and I'll get into that in just a second. An offense like we saw yesterday. I mean, granted, the Buccaneers they don't have a horrible defense. Are they as formidable as LA's potentially? But I'm not quite sure why McAdoo didn't unleash the beast, but here we go. And it has nothing to do with McCaffrey. I don't care what you say. If you don't know how to utilize something like that, but anyway, so we shut them down and we put up points. That's how you make a team one-dimensional. And normally making Tom Brady one-dimensional doesn't amount to a hill of beans because he'll still kill you with his arm. But our defense was in his back pocket, pressure all game long. And when you put up points the way McAdoo and this offense did yesterday, this is what happens. It's hard to come back from that. Now, if you look at the scoring plays, nobody did anything for the first quarter, just back and forth. Our third down conversion rate is still low, but it wasn't as low as the Tampa Bay BUCS. Thank goodness. Chuba Hubbard had a Chuba Hubbard sighting, 17-yard run. Of course, that pass to DJ. Oh man, just thinking about. I saw the obviously the highlights of the game. I didn't see it in detail, but the box scores tells a lot. The fact PJ Walker is not our starting quarterback going into this season, mind you. You didn't bring back Cam. Sam Darnold was a wash. We all know that shit. And you know, you bring in Baker Mayfield. Hopefully he could. No, he brought in a man who doesn't want to be here with an OC that didn't necessarily handpick him, but it was just the best thing going forward. I'm assuming this was a Matt Rule move once again, which I find ironic considering PJ is his guy, and this is how it went. So, but yeah, PJ really he really dialed in yesterday, and it was obvious the way he was dropping those balls in that man. It's amazing. It's amazing. So the box score tells the story, folks. Our defense stepped up, took advantage of the mismatch up front for the Tampa Bay BUCS offensive line, and we were running the football. How well were we running the football? Well, let me show you, ladies and gentlemen. Because Lord have mercy. And shout out to Tommy Tremble. Well, you know, he had one opportunity and he made one catch, and it was a doozy. But yeah. Foreman. 15 carries, $118, almost 8 yards a clip. Running the football, ladies and gentlemen, Jay Stu, D'Angelo. Running the football, ladies and gentlemen, Christian McCaffrey. Does a lot for the QB position. It does a lot for your offensive coordinator. Because if all you have to do is line up, smash somebody in the mouth, and get 3, 4, 5 yards, 6, 7 yards on the ground, the playbook opens up, folks, and you saw it. And it makes the offensive line's job a little easier in terms of pass blocking, because you've been pushing on them. That wears on the defense, obviously. We've seen that going up into the game yesterday with our own defense. So I mean, it really helped. It really helped the passing game, and it's obvious. And you know, Chuba had his deal, 9 carries, 63 yards. That's good. I mean, both of our running backs that got the majority of the carries were averaging over 7 yards a carry, or 7 or up. Now granted, it kind of skews a little bit based on the fact that Foreman had a 60-yard run, and Chuba had a 17-yard run. That messes with the average, but you can't take away the impact. The impact is obvious. Combined 24 carries between Foreman and Hubbard. 24 carries. What are we looking at? $181, almost 200 yards rushing between two running backs. I'm just saying. So I don't care who you are. When an offensive line can lean on your defense like that, and we get chunks like that, buddy, you're in trouble. I mean, look at PJ Walker's quarterback rating. When he's comfortable back there with a decent offensive line, which he has not had. There has not been a quarterback playing for the Carolina Panthers that has had a decent offensive line since 2017, and that's a fact, Jack. So see what happens. You build from the front out, not from the out to the front. It has to start with the offensive line. This is a prime example. So story of yesterday is our offense. I mean, our defense, this is who they've been all year. We didn't even have a chin or a horn or ionited, but this defense can be really good, folks. They can be really good. We didn't allow the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to score an offensive touchdown, and we were missing 2 of our starting defensive backs against Tom Brady, and they didn't touch the end zone. That's huge. You have to think about the magnitude of that, folks. That's huge. All right, so final team statistics. The first downs were pretty much neck and neck, and you'll notice this, folks. I highlighted some things for you, but you'll notice there wasn't really anything that really stood out between two teams. Like, Tampa Bay did more of this than the Panthers. It came down to efficiency, and I'll show you what I mean. If you look at the total offensive plays, you have 66 plays versus 50. Tampa Bay ran 16 more plays than we did and never scored a touchdown. We ran 50 plays and got 21 points. Efficiency makes your opponent one-dimensional. Not a bunch of talent, not a bunch of first round picks and things of that nature like it's Madden. Efficiency. And efficiency more than likely comes from continuity, understanding, communication, a comfortableness between you and your teammates, between you and your coaches, respect. That's what you saw yesterday, folks. If you didn't see the breakdown in the locker room by Coach Wilkes when he gave PJ the game ball and things of that nature, if you've been in the locker room, you felt that the energy in that locker room. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. It's crazy, but efficiency. That's what won the game, folks. Now after our third down efficiency, and I spoke on this. I mean, we were 4 of 12. We converted on third down twice in the first half. Only 2 more times after that. All right, but Tampa Bay in 2 of 12, 16% on third down efficiency. That's horrible. That's horrible. That's horrible. Like I mentioned, there wasn't anything that really broke away. They had 322 total net yards. We had 343. Obviously outside of passing attempts, Brady was slinging that thing almost 50 times yesterday to PJ's 22. But again, efficiency. Those passes that PJ put out there, he did his job, right? But that was set up by the running game. It truly was. And they targeted DJ quite a bit yesterday. 10 targets for 7 catches. So it's funny. Robbie leaves and his targets goes up. I'm just saying. Anyway, so like I mentioned, penalties. They had 4. We had 3. They had 1 fumble, but they didn't lose the fumble. Nobody had any turnovers. This was a clean game for the most part, in terms of penalties and turnovers. The best team won. Well, I should say again, the most efficient team won. Okay, red zone efficiency. Oddly enough, we got in the red zone. We scored. They got in the red zone. They did not. This is what happens. And again, time of possession, they had it for 30-36. We had it for 29-24. It was darn near neck and neck, folks. And now let me wrap it up with the ball possession and drive chart. I'm just talking about us because their offense sucked. So again, I like to highlight the number of plays and the game. The result is the result, but the important thing is how many plays did we run and how many yards did we get, how many first downs did we get on those on those drives or that drive. And of course, that major drive we had in the third, and we got the ball first, 11 plays, 54 yards. We punt the ball, but we got something going. We got something going. McAdoo found something. They made adjustments. I don't know. Was that in the third? Was it? No, this is second quarter. We got the ball first, third, in the second half, but 11 plays, 54 yards, right? We punt. So we get the ball the next time. 6 plays, 80, 4 first downs, and we capped it off with a touchdown. That's crazy. That's efficiency, folks. 6 plays, 80 yards. I mean, if you think about it now, granted, this is just statistical average. But if you think about it, you're somewhere right around almost 13 yards of play. Just going by off of statistical information, right? You have 6 plays, you got 80 yards. That's almost 13 yards of play. Efficiency. The scoring drive for our next touchdown was only 3 plays. All right, so we're talking about chunk yards. So we only got 2 first downs, but it's 77 yards, right? You get 2 first downs out of 77 yards. Right, it's something's working. You lean on the defense, and then something broke. That's beautiful. Next touchdown, of course, 7 plays, 75 yards. 3 first downs. Efficiency, man. Efficiency, folks. I mean, I mentioned this earlier. You have to be patient when you're dealing with new personnel. Never, and I'll say it again, never can I remember in all these years, and I'm 48, I can't remember a team having a brand new offensive coordinator coming in with a brand new quarterback, working with a quarterback that was somewhat unstable from the previous year, and make things click immediately. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. And what McAdoo's able to do with PJ, this offense with all these new parts. I know people were throwing him under the bus for not going down the field. We still should have beat the Rams without going down the field. We were getting clips off of just dumping it underneath and their zone scheme and getting down the field. We just couldn't get in the red zone and be efficient with it. Right. So time of possession was huge. Tampa Bay killed us in the first quarter with time of possession. They had that long and we didn't give up a touchdown. That's a miracle. And then, like I mentioned, the adjustments came and then we started sustaining drives. We started getting more first downs. We started converting first downs into touchdowns and so on and so forth. So we took advantage of that, especially in the fourth quarter. We flipped the game on them. We had the ball 10 minutes, and they had it for 4. The flip from the first, right? So that's what you call leadership and adjustment, right? Yeah, here we go. 2-0 in the division. I said we was going to win the division this year. People thought I was crazy, and now that Coach Rule is gone, I really think we're going to win it. This is a new team, folks. I mean, it's a new energy. It wasn't necessarily the same when they fired Rivera. It wasn't necessarily the same because the players like Rivera. Wilkes is somewhat, of course, this is why he was part of Ron Rivera's staff. Wilkes is kind of, he emulates that a little bit. He's a player's coach. He's a no-nonsense guy, but he's a player's coach. And he expects his players to be men and to go out there and perform and execute and be accountable. I'm not saying that Coach Rule didn't want players to be accountable. It hits different when it's seen that way. You feel me? All right, Panther fans, we're off to I believe Atlanta next week, and Atlanta beat the 49ers. Who knows what's going to happen? But division games are a whole nother. That's a whole nother battle, buddy. We got something going right here, folks. I'm somewhat excited, but I'm more hopeful than excited, to be honest with you. I'm a lot more hopeful. I don't care about draft picks. Don't care at all. Don't care at all. It's about winning. It's about setting up in an environment. So whoever you draft comes into that building with an expectation, and they're going to be molded to fit said expectation. That's what it's about. If you don't want to win, what the hell's a draft pick going to mean anyway? I almost forgot. And as always, keep pounding. Yes, sir. PJ. My man had over 120 quarterback rating. Wow. I'll keep pounding.
Get your comms up.
The Panther Comms Podcast with Timmy VO.